Feeling behind is the most socially acceptable form of self-doubt. Here's what I've learned about success now that I've turned 40. I have been in business for myself for almost 2 decades. I'm a mom of 2 under 4. I've written almost 4 books now. The 4th one's coming up soon. And none of it, not one inkling of it happened on the timeline I planned. If you think this is a pep talk for 40-year-olds, you are mistaken. This is about creating the blueprint for peace at any age. I remember thinking when I turned 30, I don't care what anyone else thinks anymore, because I felt so behind. I knew I had to let go of outside opinions if I was going to make any more progress that I thought I had earned by that point. Now at 40, I see where I needed to go through that thought process, but I also see where I had some things all wrong. It turns out I was never behind. I was always in my right time. And so I want to share with you why you shouldn't think of yourself as falling behind, and why this is the absolute best time to consider yourself just getting started. First, we need to redefine what ahead is. When you think about where you're headed, where you're going, what your vision looks like, we keep chasing it, but it's a horizon, and it's a horizon that's always going to continue to move. And that's because we're never done. There's never a finish line. When you are still here, still breathing, and still have desires because you are in this human experience, you are never done. You can't be. You're always evolving. You're always changing. You're always going to be going after something different. That's because every part of your life, not just a whole year, not a decade, it could be a month, it could be a day. All of it is a season that you're going through. The problem is we have so much access to information and real-time updates now. So comparison becomes the thief of joy, because we're constantly looking at how our timeline is different. We choose words like it's off, or it's behind. But who's to say you're not a little bit ahead? To others, you might be. You get to decide how much of that you have to measure. Are you ahead of where you once were? That's what really matters. How have you learned from every season? How have you taken a previous experience, a book that you read, a tragedy you went through? My favorite phrase I just heard recently: adversity is a terrible thing to waste. How are you different now? How are you smarter? Not in the way that I can tell everyone exactly what's wrong with me and look how brilliant I am. I know what my problem is. You don't have to tell me. That's competence. It's killing your progress. Let's lean into the capability that you have to make a change from all that competence that you have. Let's lean into your capability to move past what's in the past so that we actually make good use of all that competence you have. There's absolutely no way that you can totally objectively measure your journey against somebody else's metric. You can only see where you've been, what you've gone through, the resources you've had, the opportunities you took, the ones you didn't, and measure against that. So when we talk about redefining what's ahead, let's do a little bit of an alignment test. If there's really something that you're moving toward, ask yourself these questions. Number 1, does it fit in with my values? Some things look real shiny and nice, but don't actually match up with how we feel about what we want for ourselves. Number 2, does it align with my vision? When you think about where you're headed and the conditions and what that's gonna look like, what your day-to-day would be, does this little thing that you're like, that would be wonderful, does it fit the picture? And number 3, does it support my vitality? How is this non-negotiable in your life to the point that you're willing to change to work toward it? If those answers are all over the map for you and it just doesn't line up, then it's not what's ahead for you, and we need to reassess. Feeling behind typically means you're paying way too much attention to other people's milestones instead of your own mission. You can't look at a seedling and a tree and look at one and say they're late. They're both growing. They're both in their own time. There were so many things I thought had to be the case by the time I was 30. And there are so many things that are still not the case at 40 that I thought I had to have at 30. And it has a lot to do with the fact that shiny object syndrome will make you think you need certain things, but if it's not in alignment, it's never going to match up. That's why it's not here today. I've continued to step into more of who I am and made those decisions consciously, and those things have continued to be a no as I choose these other yeses. If you truly have your ladder against a building you don't like, you have to ask yourself what no's should have been a yes, and vice versa. By the way, if you are of the entrepreneurial breed like myself and you want next year to be your best year ever, I'm doing a live event, and it is just for my dear friends who team up with me and try out this amazing platform that's going to automate your success in business. And that is the sponsor of this segment, our friends at High Level. Whether it comes to tracking your contacts, your content, and your cash flow, and a myriad of other things, High Level integrates so much that works seamlessly with the processes of getting your best work done. Even just your calendar. If you could get some time back and scheduling your whole life, High Level is an amazing partner for helping you do that. Scheduling your clients, scheduling a coffee date, or just scheduling some time to get your best work done. I'm gonna be talking about all of the things I teach my clients about building their best year ever at this live event. All you have to do is check out the exclusive 30-day free trial of High Level. And once you join with my affiliate link, you will be given free access to my live event. Check out the link in the description down below. And thanks to High Level for sponsoring this segment. Now that we've reassessed our vision, we need to move on to the next step. And that is to stop competing and start compounding. The biggest questions I get have to do with consistency. How many times have you uploaded a video? How many days per week do you think it's necessary to show up? How many stories should I post? How many times should I meet with my clients? How many coffee meetings should I take with prospects per month? How many? If you're asking the question, maybe you already know the answer. More is always more. More is always going to be better. Whoever can do more is going to get more. That's just true. But it's not always about more. If you can show consistency in the ways that matter, what you do again and again and again and again and again and again, especially as a utility for how you help people, becomes very clear. It defines more of who you are. And that track record compounds. A decision I decide to make tomorrow in my business is made much more easily than if I would have made it 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago, I might be able to do it quickly because the ship is a bit smaller. It's just me. I'm just kind of chipping away at things, trying different things. But it may not be as successful right away because I haven't built a 20-year relationship with an enormous community that helps move the needle for any business decision I decide to make. The compounding of just showing up. It's not about how many views I get. It's not about how many subscribers I have. It's that the people who are paying attention feel seen and they know me and I've been helpful to them. And when I introduce something new to them, they're much more likely to listen because there's trust. How are you removing competition from the equation and focusing on just how you're compounding your impact over the long term, even if it's just day one? There's a reason why if you see a YouTube video and it says, I did this for 30 days, or I did this for a year, or I did this for 10 years, or I did this for 20. You can't buy that experience that person got from doing that thing and trying it out and then reporting back to you what that experience was like. That's why so many people love to watch that type of content. Whatever took you the longest is actually your biggest advantage. So if you're worried about how old you are right now, this is a great time to reflect on this. What have you brought to the table so far? My business coach taught me this one is very good. If you had to take out every single book you've read, every lesson you've learned, all adversity you've gone through, every person you've lost and the experience of going through that, anything you can think of that has made you the person you are today, and all of it just sat right next to you, how much would you pay to take it all back? You can't put a price on that. Or maybe you can, but you wouldn't want that to happen because that's what you bring to the table. So if you can say, oh, wow, I know what I've gotten from all of that and how I would share it and how I could communicate it and how someone could learn from me. If only I could distill it down into something so simple for them to begin to pick up the crumbs to start to understand. That is your superpower. It's totally custom to you. It's a stew you've been adding ingredients to, custom, fully organic to your life over a very long period of time. No one else can make it. What is that? And how have you compounded into who you are today that you can leverage into what's next for you? You're not too late. You're custom. You're layered. You're brewed. What do we need to know about that? And the next thing I want you to do is measure your success. But there's a way I want you to do it. I want you to measure success with peace, not proof. Do you ever notice that you have a hard time taking a compliment? I definitely do in certain areas of my life. If somebody says, "Oh, wow, your hair looks great today," I will either say, "That's because someone else just did it, thank goodness," or "I got so lucky today with my blow dryer. I don't even know how it happened. I also have a great haircut and he just makes it dummy proof for me." That's not taking a compliment. A compliment received sounds like, "Thank you." And the sound of that thank you is peaceful. The peace that you get from accepting a compliment comes from experience and knowing that you've earned it. So we can say, "Oh, I have hundreds of thousands of subscribers on my YouTube channel." But if I have to prove my success, is it really giving me any peace? External proof only feels good if we have internal peace about it. If we know that it was earned through a lot of hard times and a lot of focus on the vision. When peace becomes your key performance indicator, or KPI as we like to call it, your priorities shift naturally. So here's how we figure out your peace KPI. First, do you have presence in this win? Am I here for my life? Is this exciting to me because I'm happy to be doing the thing when I'm doing the thing, even if the thing is hard, because it's what I chose and I can be present in this moment and I can know I can be maybe needed in other places right now, but it's okay that I'm not there because I am here and I am here and I am here. I am here now. I am now here. Number two, do you like the pace of it? Does it feel sustainable? Is it something where maybe you feel really good about yourself health-wise, but you've been doing some things and cutting some corners that aren't making you feel like you actually are living your best life? Is the pace sustainable? Is it something that you could continue to do joyfully, happily? And finally, do you have pride in it? Not from a standpoint of scarcity, of having too much pride, but just being proud of yourself, genuinely, not needing someone else to say it, but being able to look yourself in the mirror and say, "Girl, you did that." It's interesting because there's been some life experiences in my life. Some of them I wanted, some of them I definitely didn't and wish they never did happen, even though I've learned a lot from them. But they caused me to stop chasing success. And I tell you what, when you finally reach a point when you feel like you're not chasing these things that don't matter anymore, success starts to chase you. And the more you can lean back, the more things meet you exactly where you are. The next thing I've learned is that comparison is not all bad. I know I just said, it can be the thief of joy. So hear me out. When you've started to get a bit more clear on what you want for yourself and where you're headed and what matters, what makes the cut, what you say yes to, what you say no to, comparison really speaks volumes. It can speak to you about lack, and you can suddenly start to feel like, okay, no, I am learning something new about myself that maybe I do want. And now I'm going to consider that. Or it can speak to you in the way of, wow, I can genuinely be happy for that person because I don't need that whatsoever. That clarity is very, very hard to replace. It's surface level when you try to convince yourself of it. It's peaceful when you have come to that conclusion truly. I love feeling a little jealous sometimes because when I do, I write it down in a jealousy journal. And I'm like, okay, later when I'm like, I don't know what I want for myself, I will read my jealousy journal and see what resonates. Because when I go, oh, so-and-so has this, or so-and-so got to do that, or so-and-so sits at home and reads books all day in their library. I love that. I love that a lot. If I read that list and it's resonating with me, then I'm getting clear on where I'm headed more and what I should say yes to and what I should say no to and what I should make sure that my family is good with and what I should make sure that I'm super good with. I get really clear. So I don't have to feel sad about comparison. I can just feel better about what I want and the absolute clarity of it because I feel a feeling. Feeling that feeling and not getting down about it, that is adulting. That is hard things I can do. I love it now. And when I see somebody going through a moment where they're jealous and they look torn up about it, I feel so genuinely bad, but also good for them for where they're headed because I know it's going to get better. When they realize that jealousy is powerful for helping to motivate them in the right direction. So are you triggered by something? Be triggered by something. Be angry about it. And then ask yourself, what am I going to do differently? Someone else's win is not your loss. Someone else's win that you think is cool is a sign that there's better coming. And the last thing I'll say about this is a lot to do with however old you are, however far along you think you are or not. It's about making peace with your pace, the pace that you're going. Because guess what? You might be going really fast right now and feel like, still not getting there. Or you might feel like you've been a little bit of a pokey puppy. You need to pick it up a little bit because you're still not there. And maybe that's the reason. But today is still going to be a different pace than tomorrow. It's going to be a different pace from yesterday. It's going to be a different pace in a year. If you have babies, it's a different pace than when you didn't. If you hope to have children, it's going to be a different pace than where you are now. If your future with your family is undecided and you're not sure yet, the pace is going to change as you begin to navigate that. If your business becomes more successful, the pace is going to change. What's expected of you is going to change, and therefore your pace has to keep up as well. And you have to keep deciding, am I going faster? Am I going slower? What works for me? Where am I accelerating where I do not need to? Where am I accelerating where I should actually be getting help? Because me accelerating is unsustainable and I need to make peace with this pace. There have been so many moments specifically in the last 10 years where I was not at peace with the pace I was going. And I still fight with that a lot. Especially the one of I should be going faster, I should be going faster, I should be going faster. Because I have to then look at my life and say, is it sustainable? Is that where I want to be right now? Is that actually how I want to spend my time? Is that actually where I want my focus to be? Because my kids are growing up fast. And the more attention I take off of that, the less good I feel. So make peace with the pace that you're headed because it's amazing what you're going to discover about yourself in the next 10 to 20 years. And even more amazing, what everything that's compounded over this time is going to do for you when you are older. And for those of you who are wise enough to know this already and are thinking, Amy, you're so smart, but you still have no idea. Bless you. Thank you for being here. I know I have a lot to learn, and I am so excited about that. So excited. That's what I've learned now that I've turned 40. I'm doing my best. But sometimes I still only keep it together 1 week at a time. So if you want to see that video, click here and I'll see you there.